Hi everyone, so I'm here from the Thinking Schools Academy Trust. I'm Simon Arnold, the Trust Recruitment Manager. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we moved systems from very much a finance system trying to be a recruitment system into a recruitment system thanks to the help of Eploy. It's nice to see a few of you that I know here. I'm going to talk you through our journey. However, please do feel free to ask questions. There's a question session at the end, and please do direct any questions to me and I'll be happy to answer them. So, who are we? We are the Thinking Schools Academy Trust, so we're a group of schools under one management. We're 26 schools, and we have a very varied and complex recruitment process that differs a lot depending on the type of role, the location and the school. So we needed a system that obviously is adaptable to those dynamics. Just a little bit about us. So like I say, we're 26 schools, we've got over 2,000 members of staff now. And we look after and educate 1,750 students plus, and that's all types of education, so primary, secondary, specialist education, and pupil referral units. So I won't go through this word for word, just a little bit about ourselves. So we're very much driven by a child-first attitude, so everything we do, the children are at the heart of, and again that needed to come across both in our communication and of course our career sites. So in terms of the system we had, just a little bit around the issues that we faced. Like I say, it was pretty much a off-the-shelf finance system trying to be a recruitment system, which was some of the issues. These are just some of the issues that we were facing. However, we had a very dated system which caused masses of delays that really affected us because it is a competitive industry. We are competing with a lot of other schools and trusts, but also we've got large central functions, so we recruit into HR, IT, facilities, marketing, you name it. And there was a real lack of flexibility, we couldn't amend anything, the emails, the reference forms, and much more. It caused us a lot of issues. So as an example, we were getting caretakers to fill in the same form as teachers, and obviously caretakers were being asked for their qualified teacher registration number and stuff like that, which obviously isn't suitable. There was no integrations, so now we're in the process of building an integration with our new HR and payroll system. So again, that streamlines a lot of the work. I think the biggest kind of thing I can say is I joined about 6 years ago. We had 12 schools then and a team of 3 of us. We're still a team of 3 of us, even though we've got 26 schools, and that is because of the time that the system has saved us. And again, I'll run through quite a few examples in this slides. It was all or nothing manager access. So for example, we've got a school called the Victory Academy, and if we gave, say, a head of maths their access, they could see every single role and application under that school. Obviously that isn't suitable, so we had to rely on the head teacher, then forward it on to the relevant managers. Now we can limit access by, again, any fields in the system. So we can give heads of the department, assistant heads access to their vacancies only, while still having that head teacher access, and our CEO who can see everything on a dashboard that's going on within the trust, which again has saved us having to do stuff like weekly reports. No readily available access to metrics, so such as gender pay gap, EDI, all that kind of stuff that we have to report on as HR professionals, and also where people saw our applications. So we've got a very expensive job board called, actually I won't name it, however we're looking to move away from that, and we can now actually evidence where those applications are coming from and whether to move away from that job board. Lack of accessibility and usability, so we are a disability confident employer, and we wouldn't have been able to get that on our old system. As an example of us as a recruitment team, we actually had to learn how to HTML code because our old system would only accept adverts in HTML rather than text. And there was no audit trail, so if someone had gone into a record and changed something or amended something, there was no audit trail. Now, which we have a full audit trail, time, date stamped, and who's done what, both managers and the HR team, and hiring managers, sorry. And there was no differentiation for internal staff, so now we've been able to launch a internal careers site, because something we are really pushing on is promotions for internal staff and that internal mobility, especially across schools. Like I say, we've got schools in regions, so we can now, rather than someone leaving us, say in a school in Devon, we can now try and convince them to move to another school within Devon for say a promotion. Also, vendors is the term within the system, but that's recruitment agencies. So we can actually assign vacancies to recruitment agencies, which has, you'll be glad to hear, limited kind of cold calls and speculative emails a lot, because we just tell them anything that we want your help with will be on the system. And they've all, again, really complemented the vendor side of it. No adaptable workflows, which again I'll touch upon a little bit later, so I won't go into too much detail. But essentially everyone had the same onboarding process, and that happened off system, which was another huge issue. And GDPR compliance, so records didn't auto-delete. There's stuff in the system that after a amount of time we'd have to manually go in and delete. There is a slide on it, but that's all automated now in line with our data retention policy. There's a lot more, and again, I'll be happy to kind of answer any questions at the end, either about those or kind of the next few slides. And again, we've got a stand here today. I'm on a stand with Eploy today, so please do come and visit me. So a little bit about our journey. So the process will be different, of course, depending on what sector you're in. We are a public sector, so it is a bit of a longer process. So what we did first was identify clearly what we needed. Me and the team sat down and identified what we needed in a perfect system, but also what our non-negotiables was. We then identified a number of ATS providers. There's actually a site which I can recommend. I need to look up the name of it, but basically it's a compare the market for ATS systems, and that is actually how we found out about Eploy and the other systems we met with. So we then had demos, and from that we probably had about 7 or 8 demos. We then shortlisted it down to 3, met with them again, and used that non-negotiables and our perfect system as a scoring matrix, and Eploy obviously came through on top. And then obviously it was the onboarding and implementation, which again was really quick and seamless, and I'll talk you through that. But again, the guys at Eploy have been really good. So in terms of who we involved in each stage, obviously I've narrowed it down to those 3 stages. The demos we involved both our recruitment team, but also recruitment managers, so our head teachers, our office managers who traditionally dealt with a lot of the recruitment, because obviously their buy-in and also their opinions were definitely needed. And then the selection was down to myself and the board. And then onboarding, obviously we were involved, the IT team were involved because we've integrated with 365 Microsoft, so people don't need logins and stuff like that. And obviously the onboarding guys at Eploy. So I just wanted to run through what our recruitment process looks like now, including, like I say, compliance and onboarding. To save time, we've kind of limited it down to 3 areas. So we've got our attraction, which comprises of, so we've got a requisition order, again being public sector. So our schools put in a request to recruit, and then that then goes to our business managers to approve, and then comes to us to obviously advertise, generate candidates, and then obviously, as you know, the next stage is hopefully we've got a strong field of applicants, and then there's selection. So the shortlisting again can all be done on system, and so we've just implemented application scoring again, which our old system didn't have. But we can score applicants now, which again has helped us in the cases of any employment tribunals or anything like that from candidates which we've had previously. Engagement, so again we'll go through it, but a lot of it is automated, so in keeping candidates engaged in that process, especially passive candidates and people that have started an application perhaps and haven't yet finalised their application, so we can engage with them, email, call. There's also automated things such as text messages and stuff like that. The interviewing, which I won't touch upon too much at this stage, and then the onboarding, which again there's quite a few slides on, but all of our offer letters now are online, all our contracts are online that our payroll team do. It's all DocuSign, audited, and it helps with, so we've moved to online personnel files now. And again, happy to talk to you guys kind of through that if you come and visit us. Compliance gathering, so as you can imagine, being in education, there's a lot of compliance. There's references, DBS, and a whole host of stuff, like I'm sure there is if any of you from NHS, social care, finance sector, for example, and start date preparation, which we'll run through. So, on attraction, so we've now got engaging adverts with logos, videos, pictures, lots of attachments like brochures, people specs, JDs, some of which is obviously as you'd expect, but our old system didn't have all that functionality. And I'll show you pictures of some of our adverts in a minute. Ability to engage passive candidates, like I say, the second someone signs in and creates an account, we can see that as the HR team. We can look at what they've filled in of their application so far, reach out to them if they look like they'd be a strong candidate. As an example, last week we interviewed for a head teacher. One of them had only started an application and moved away from the process. We was able to engage him, offer him a tour of the school. He came in for a chat with the director, and he actually applied and was appointed. Like I say, the ability to communicate quickly and effectively. I know I've spoken to a few of you today already, but in terms of mail merging, but making them look like personalised emails. It's mobile compatible. Like I say, there's integrations with various LMS and payroll systems. And like I say, a huge thing for us as HR professionals, it is GDPR compliant. So this is a little bit of a look of our career site. So as you can see, it's got the logos, it's got all the details that we requested to be on there. So a huge thing for us was weeks per year, because obviously a lot of our roles aren't all year round. And you'll see in the middle there's a different view. So again, being accessibility, you can change the view to make it more user-friendly depending on the candidate's desirabilities. And you can also refine. So although on the screenshot it says 19, we can kind of have up to, I'd say, 60 vacancies at a time, and people don't want to trawl through that. So those filters, in the same way other job boards, can really help the candidate find what they're looking for. Again, this is just another view of the adverts on the mobile, on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side is the advert content. You can see we've able to add our logos of whatever school or service it is, our investors in people status, which we're really proud of, and the disability confident status, which we've now achieved. And just as a heads up, we're also going for Army Covenant status. Again, happy to talk you through that. Armed Forces, sorry. So this is a little bit of a look of how the pipeline will look when the advert is live. So you can see there we've got a number of candidates with incomplete applications. So the circle there is an email, so that means an email has automatically been triggered to them. We personally ask it to send only every 3 days, not to bombard them. But also we can click into that top candidate and see their contact details and contact them. If, like I say, they've started their application, it looks like a strong application form. So I touched upon it a little bit already, however you can see the GDPR side of things. So it auto deletes records, so in line with our retention policy, it will delete contacts, candidates, vacancies, actions, correspondence, everything to keep us in line with compliance. So then on to the selection stage. Like I say, you can have manager access actually by any field in the system. So whether that's by location, department, function, literally anything that you've built into the system. Scoring for applications we've already spoke around. Notes, so what's really useful is you can have private and public notes. So for example, our HR team add notes that the hiring manager can't see. So when someone's onboarding and completes their medical form, they can leave any notes on there on recommendations or stuff that we've put in place to support that individual. Interview scoring, so it also has the ability to score interview notes within the system. Invite to interview, so this has been a big game changer. Again, previously we had to email them off system, because as you can imagine, being a school, we have very different interview processes, different tasks, different compliance forms they need to bring in. However, that's now all automated, and you've got two options. So you can essentially tell the candidate when they're coming in, or you can select when you're free. If you have integrated your calendar as well, that will show, and ask them to book in their own interview slot, and that will also book that into your calendar. Tailored communications by role location, so again we've got different comms for passive candidates depending on the role. We've included things in emails like videos, pictures, just to really keep them engaged in the process. And it's a really easy to use manager portal in our industry. So our hiring managers, whether they be head teachers, heads of department, senior teachers, they're not HR savvy, they're not recruitment experts, but the system is really easy to navigate for hiring managers, and we'll show you a little bit about that later on. And a huge one for us is the data. I know we've got a few people I've spoken to already that with Eploy, and the dashboards for us have been a huge game changer. So managers can log in at any time and see what's going on across either their school service, or if you're on the board, obviously across the trust. So a few examples that we've got is this is something that was built, and it's really easy to build. You can see offers, outstanding action, how many internal candidates this manager's had, how many live vacancies, and the onboarding status of individuals. Equally, if I log in as the CEO, I can see everything that's going on across the trust. You can see it's a lot more busy. And over on that left-hand side, the picture of a square in the top left-hand corner is where you select your dashboards. So we've built quite a few. So for example, we've also built for the HR team metrics to track onboarding, but equally where our vacancies are and how many roles we've filled within regions, just to help us hopefully highlight any potential areas of concern. Like I say, it's kept us compliant and safe from any kind of employment tribunals that we know candidates themselves can actually raise, with all the interview scoring and notes and things like that. That's just an example of a manager going in and scoring an application. And again, you can build those as a general shortlisting depending on your industry, or we've built them specifically for each service. So we've got a teaching one. This is actually one for one of our gyms, so the criteria is specific to fitness and leisure. When managers log in, they can see everything from the candidate at a glance. So you can see on the left-hand side there, we've obviously anonymised it, but all their personal details and key information we may want to see. You can see the skills tab, so through automation, it's highlighted key skills we've asked for the system to look for, and you can see again down the bottom that people have left notes on this applicant for various reasons. So one of my favourite bits about the system, and something we've overhauled massively since implementing, is our onboarding. So I'll talk you through that. We've managed to build both a mix of forms and engaging candidates, because we were previously having people drop off in between starting. So the people we hired typically have quite long notice periods, and we were finding that perhaps they were going on to find other roles. Other key things that have helped us advance the onboarding for both us and the manager, and importantly the new worker, are immediate offer letters. So we can generate 2 clicks of the button an offer letter through those merge fields, and contracts with DocuSign. So again, it's all audited and transferable. The ability to have a staged process. So again, depending on the role, we might have a 2-stage interview process. Some roles we might have 1. So you can build different workflows depending on what you need. The ability to set up automated comms that we already spoke about, and the ability to run reports and dashboards. So just a little overview of what we've built, don't panic, is so this, for example, is what we've built. So you'll see this section here is a separate page for each school, and on the side that's a lot smaller is all the forms that we want them to fill in, bank details which go straight into payroll, forms, medical forms, but in that first column we've built a bespoke onboarding page for each school and service. So for example, welcome to the team, a bit of information about that school, and then a nice engaging video from the principal of the school they're going to be working at, which again helps engage the candidate before they start. And then you can hopefully see on the left hand side that you've got then all the forms that we need everyone to fill in, such as GDPR, confirmation they've read policies, e-learning, medical questionnaire, and all the other kind of HR stuff. Equally, we've managed to build in KPIs and stats for our payroll team, because they actually log in and generate the contracts that we've built. So again, we can track kind of staff members that have started and are awaiting contract, again to hopefully keep us compliant. So we know now, due to the legislation changes, people have to have their contract on or before their start date. So that orange box there just immediately highlights any issues that the payroll team needs to address kind of ASAP. That 27 that you can see there is people who have issued a contract but they've not signed. Again, automated emails have been built every couple of days to remind them to sign it. Just a little bit of an overview of that. So again, obviously I've hid the name, but you can see they've DocuSigned that contract, and you can also see on that second picture all the forms they filled in. So again, that will live in the system, or you can extract it into a HR system if you're not utilising the API. So just in terms of some of our top tips when kind of looking to move away from your current ATS system, is to test, obviously get demo test logins of the system, independently test them, and also apply for jobs with, as weird as it sounds, for customers that they use the system, so you can actually see that candidate journey and check on how that looks for a candidate, because ultimately that's why you get an ATS, is to attract more candidates. Network, obviously suppliers will provide references, but reach out to people that you might know in your network that use the system and get independent feedback that you've sourced yourself. Whilst you need to think about what's important to you, also the stakeholders. So with those dashboards, for example, we've managed to build regular reports that we have to provide, so then we can share them and they can log in and view those. In a crowded market, engagement is very much king. So for us, all those automated emails engaging candidates, sending video content, social media content, etc., really helps keep up that engagement. Cost v time. So a massive thing for us was the integration with Indeed. So Indeed for us was massive for hiring, say, caretakers and support roles. However, Indeed is CVs. We can't accept CVs legally. We have to have application forms. So previously we had to message them on Indeed saying, thank you, look like a great candidate, etc., etc., and then get them to complete an application form and an account on our ATS. Obviously the drop-off was huge. With this, they apply on Indeed with their CV, it passes, and then they just have to fill in the gaps. So again, that's been a real game changer. We used to really struggle to recruit caretakers actually, and we don't have any roles at the moment. So that's testament to that. Have a flexible system, you know, and can administer changes. So again, I know I've spoken to you a couple at the stand today. We can do 95%, if not more, things ourselves. In terms of building those dashboards, it's worth spending a bit of time getting to know your system so you know what you can do and you can do yourself. Get 360 feedback when scoring systems. Like I say, speak to clients, but also people perhaps that have had demos and people in your network. Think about the other systems such as HR and payroll and who you can talk to. So a massive thing for us is we're at tender for other new systems, and we want to know whether they've got an open API, because if they have, then it can integrate with Eploy. Again, for us, onboarding teams are crucial, so ask them to be involved when you are down to a few providers. So get everyone that's in that process to demo the system. So for us, it's our schools PAs, and ultimately measure the success that system's having. So get as much data from your system that you're moving away from now, so you can impact the change to the board in terms of what positive impact it has. Kind of the final thing from me is in terms of just making sure you future-proof the system. So for us, like I say, we're a company, trust rather, that's growing quite quickly, and we know this system can support our growth because we can build new workflows, new locations, new companies into the system within seconds, if not minutes. So there's my contact details on the slide. Please do reach out to me if, kind of like I say, you want any kind of independent feedback. But equally, if anyone's got any questions now, I'm happy to answer them. Or you can visit our stand and kind of speak to any of us after the presentation. So thank you. Any questions?